country in the world, by far. And yet, we're last on the list in terms of, so what the hell do we have to lose? But I also know, like places like, go back to two I just mentioned, but look at Iowa, look at Idaho, look at you'll have some of the best school systems in the world. And you know what we'll do? We'll give them about half the money that we send them now. And for half the money, they'll have a lot of money left over. We'll cut our budget in half. And not everybody's going to be great. I mean, Gavin Newsom will not do a good job with education. So I don't expect that out of him. But I don't expect it out of certain other people. I don't want to mention too many people, but he'll do a horrible job probably. It won't be any worse than it is now. It can't get any worse. But many of the states, I would say 40 of the 50 states will do much better. And I'll bet you 30 of the states will be phenomenal. It'll be like beautiful. It'll be like Norway. You know, Norway has a great education system. In New York, they said, yes, we're studying the Norwegian plan. Oh, really? You're studying the Norwegian plan? Well, you better bring a lot of cops along because you have a lot of problems, right? We're studying the plan of Norway and Denmark. And actually, China is very high on the list. I mean, China's number 3 or 4 on the list. Think of it. Can you imagine that? China is number 3 or 4 on the list. No, we're going to give it back to the states, and most of those states are going to do a phenomenal job.
You know, easily one of the funniest things about Donald Trump is that he just says stuff. You never know what you're going to get, or if all of a sudden he pretends like he or anybody within the Republican apparatus is interested in a Norway-style education system, or anything to do with anything that's socialist. Like, give me a break, man. Republicans have been going after public education for decades.
Schools are really, in my opinion, failing to do their most basic duty, educating our children. We saw widespread closures during the COVID pandemic, which led to students falling behind in core subjects like reading and math, which, by the way, I oppose the closures and the lockdowns because it was an absolute scam, and the impact to our children, I think we'll see for entire generation. But during that time, under the guise of COVID, Congress appropriated billions, $189 billion to the ESSER fund to restore educational services after COVID-19. Of course, like everything else, the government throws taxpayer dollars at. The money was often used inappropriately. While there were some school districts that appropriately spent the funds, there were many, and unfortunately far too many, that used it for nonsense like DEI programs, critical race theory, gender ideology, and other work programming. And before anyone questions whether or not actually happened, I'll point to my very own school district that I graduated from, which spent money implementing these programs. First and foremost, Congress has a responsibility to question how the schools are spending taxpayer dollars and how they're being effective in the use of those dollars. My first question is to Ms. Is it Gentiles?
Gentle with an S, so Gentles.
Gentles. Ms. Gentles, will expanding school choice, which is a very popular topic in many states, including Missouri, will that improve the student outcomes?
Yes, there have been close to 200 studies of existing school choice programs, and the vast majority of those do indicate that there are improvements in not just the participating students, but in the public school students in the surrounding area. Those competitive pressures improve the district services to the nearby students. So rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah, it's amazing how powerful competition can be. My other question, often whenever I'm discussing this topic, there are teachers